In this video and a few that'll follow, I want to talk to you about the first Galilean moon of Jupiter, Io. So this is the number one moon from Jupiter. And boy, is it a bizarre one. It's so fun to sort of think about what's going on this moon. So get ready for some kind of bizarre concepts and pictures. So here we go. So first of all, here's what the moon looks like. And maybe when you think about the moon, you always think about our moon, sort of the pale gray moon with all the dark maria and craters and just lifeless and that sort of thing. Well, no such thing on Io. So the first thing about Io here is if you look very carefully at the moon or study it, whatever, you'll find no craters whatsoever. What you will find, though, is a bunch of hot lava flows all over the moon. So this is sort of an interesting fact, no craters at all, because of the way the violence of the early solar system was formed. Like most things got cratered, and probably Io did too, but you won't find any of them now. And so what the hot lava flows are doing here are turning the surface inside out. And it does so on sort of approximately a 1 million year cycle. Okay, something like that. So what do we mean by that? Well, here's Io right here, say the moon. But because of all this volcanism that's going on the moon, say maybe here's a volcano right here, then as you know about volcanoes and things, the hot lava that might be below the surface like this is just going to start getting blown out of the volcano like this. And as it goes, it'll flow down the side of the volcano. And these are the lava flows that we're talking about, sort of flow down like this. And this is sort of where the resurfacing is coming in. The resurfacing is coming in right there as this lava flows. And again, the whole planet will get resurfaced in like 1 million years. So maybe it'll take a week for them to resurface the parking lot at your local shopping center or something like that. Well, the entire planet of Io then gets resurfaced by these lava flows in about 1 million years. So that definitely will explain then why there's no craters. They're all gone. They're all either filled in with lava or recycled and remelted and blown back out of the volcano. And so the colors that you see here on the surface here are compounds of sulfur or sulfur dioxide, something like that. And there's even some sodium that come out. All of these are known to have these yellowish hues here, and some of these reds and browns and things are just other compounds of sulfur. And so Io definitely holds the distinction of being the most volcanically active body. So between all the moons and all the planets in the solar system, let's just call them all bodies, Io is the most volcanically active body in our solar system. You just won't find anything else that has more volcanoes, something like between 300 and 400 volcanoes. It's just pretty unbelievable. Just totally volcanically active, which we'll have to talk about. So as we go on a bit here, just keep that in mind. No craters, hot lava flow, all these volcanoes. And they're just so active that it apparently isn't even that hard to capture volcanic eruptions going on. And you look at how high this particular plume is right here. Like this plume here might be something like 100 miles high. So these eruptions are just huge. They're just enormous. And they're just constantly spewing out this lava that's flowing all over the surface of the planet like that. And I believe the name isn't so important here, but I believe this one is called the Prometheus plume going off there. And that's not all. This is Pele here, and one of the space probes that went by, I believe it was Galileo, was able to assemble a mosaic, different pictures that it's put together, maybe not of the whole moon, but you can just sort of see this area over here where you can literally see, again, more volcanic activity, just spewing the sulfur compounds and some sodium way, way up beyond the surface of the moon. So just these volcanoes just like out of control on this moon. Here's another one right here, and I'll show you a video animation of this in just a second here, but you can sort of see this plume here, and you can see how sort of high it is, again, relative to the size, maybe the radius even of the planet here. It's just a pretty good fraction of the size of the planet in terms of being blown up in the atmosphere. So let me show you a couple videos now of this going on with Io, so stay tuned.
Viewed through binoculars, Io, one of Jupiter's 4 largest moons, will look much like it did to Galileo Galilei, who discovered it in 1610. 369 years later, the spacecraft named after Galileo sent back images of a violent world covered with active volcanoes, the first volcanoes seen in our solar system beyond Earth. Some of Io's volcanoes are like those in Earth's early history, while others aren't like anything ever seen on Earth. On Io, plumes can spew material higher than 300 kilometers, 190 miles, high enough to give the moon a tenuous atmosphere. Some gases from Io's atmosphere get caught up in Jupiter's whirling magnetic field and are spun into a giant torus, the shape of a donut encircling Jupiter. Some of the material falls back onto Io. Here it has formed a ring around the volcano named Pele. Most moons in our solar system have crater-covered surfaces, but Io's continuous volcanic activity is constantly changing its surface, erasing any impact craters that might have occurred. In January 2001, on its way to Saturn, the Cassini spacecraft combined forces with Galileo to study Io simultaneously from 2 vantage points. They found a new volcanic plume near Io's North Pole. This month, Galileo is flying over that site again, searching for a possible magnetic field. It will see how Io's surface has changed, and if the volcano is still active, Galileo may fly right through the thin gases high in its plume.